John Gong is a professor of economics at the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing. He focuses on microeconomics, industrial organization, and antitrust issues. He joins us now from Beijing. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor. So what are you expecting to hear? What are you expecting to hear in President Xi's speech later today, and how significant is it?
Oh, I expect him to speak to both the domestic audience as well as the international audience. On the domestic side, I think he is going to say things that going to clear up the confusion in the domestic politics in China in the last couple of months. For example, he's going to assure the private sector is continue to be a very important indispensable part of China's economy. He's going to ensure to the private entrepreneurs, the business people, that this is still a very good place to make investment. He's also going to, I think, he's going to emphasize that China's, the confusion about the discussion about the China's property ownership is going to continue to go down the path of reform and open door policy. In the last few weeks, there's some voices from other sides of China's society that's saying that China's going to eliminate private ownership. That's totally nonsense. I think it's going to assure people that it's not going to happen. And of course, he's also going to emphasize that the leadership of the Communist Party to manage our economy. This is for the domestic side. On the international side, I think he's going to set the stage for the things going to come during the 90-day negotiation between China and U.S. I think he's going to emphasize that China is not going to challenge the international order as something very different economy, but it's going to continue to be integrated as part of the international order that is very much led by the United States right now and its associated international organizations.
And Professor, do you think President Xi's speech could also be a preview of what we can expect to see later on this March at the two sessions?
Absolutely. I think he's going to. The thing is that China and U.S. is going to reach a negotiation agreement. I think I'm very confident they're going to reach an agreement, and there are dramatic measures coming out by the end of that negotiation, and he's going to set the stage. Okay, people prepare for that. So I think from that aspect, it's going to be very, very significant. We are going to see a very different China moving forward because we're going to open a lot of markets. All these structural issues, I think, are going to be including state subsidies, including support for the SOE, including industrial policy. I think all these aspects of the structural issues that the United States is very concerned about are going to undergo dramatic changes, I think.
So that being said, how do you see the bigger picture of China's economic future given the current situation with the U.S. trade war? Is that just a blip in what is going to be a long, fruitful future?
I think overall the economy is slowing down anyway, I think, in spite of these trade tensions. So I think towards the beginning of the next year, throughout the next year, I would guess that the economy is going to slow down. And the central government is going to introduce some measures, I think, including fiscal measures to pop up the economy. I've already heard that there are plans being currently made for fiscal stimulus packages.
And very quickly, I mean, it's been 40 years. If you look at the last 40 years and where China stands in the world today, is there anything else to compare this to?
Oh, this is unprecedented in human history. We've been growing up until, since Mr. Xiaoping's opening up until 2012, our economic growth has been averaging about 10% a year for about 30 years, and just in the more recent years, it's slowing down a little bit. We're now down into a 6% territory, but it's still a very significant achievement. We have lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. This kind of a growth for such a large population, which is about 1 out of every 5 people on the planet Earth, is just unprecedented in human history. So this is something that we're very proud of, and also I think explains to the fact that China's development model has been very successful so far.
All right, Professor John Gong, thank you for joining us from Beijing.